Hello, so my name is Kylie and welcome to sort of my knitting, spinning, crafty kind of roundup. So it's been a while since I last posted. I think definitely well over a year, but yeah, I'm hoping to get back to doing it a little bit more. Just things got away from me. I had a lot of plans, I had a lot of activities in the summer, which kind of got in the way of me filming. And then in November of last year, I got a puppy. And if you have ever had an infant dog, you would know and understand that it is extremely time consuming and slightly all-encompassing. So there was definitely not going to be any sort of vlogging or knitting really that was getting done, but the dog now is 7 months old. We've settled into a little bit of a routine, and yeah, I'm just in a creative kind of season of my life, and I'm wanting to get back to recording these videos and logging all the stuff that I'm doing. But yeah, that was a little bit of a long intro. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done this, so I'm very out of practice, so hopefully I'll get better. Yeah, I'm hoping to do this as a single take, basically, with minimal editing, because even though my dog is a little older, it still requires a lot of my time and attention, and yeah, I just don't want to spend too long editing. It's not one of my favorite things. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to show you projects and things that I started this year, or within the last 4 months, so there might be a crossover between things I did in December and finished in the year of 2026. So yeah, let's start with it. To begin with, when my dog Pinto, that's what it's called, was really young, I just couldn't do more. I couldn't do anything really complicated. So I got into making quite a lot of socks. I made 4 socks in total since getting him. One of them was gifted, so I don't have that with me, and I never took a picture of it, so I can't even, you know, throw it up on here, but that's fine. I'll start with this pair here, bright red pair, which is quite a lacy pattern. This I already I had already cast this on before getting the dog, but I'd memorized the pattern, so I was able to sort of just get going with it. This pattern is called the Fairy Maiden, and it is by Olivia Villarreal. It is a lace pattern with some faux cabling, as you can see there. It was a really lovely pattern. It's actually also it's also free on Ravelry, so if you are interested and I'm so inclined, I would definitely recommend this pattern. I knit this using West Yorkshire Spinners 4-ply, signature 4-ply in Cayenne, I want to say Cayenne Pepper or Cayenne Red. That's the colourway that I used. I've used West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply, and I would say it is probably one of my favourite sock yarns that is readily available. It is quite strong. I think it's, you know, that classic 75-25 or 80-20 combination of wool to polyamide. I've not had any issues with felting or pilling or colour running with this yarn, so it is my go-to. And they've got such a good range of colours, as shown by this sock. I like to think I've done like a decent length foot, but I still have a sizable amount of wool left. And with the amount of socks I've knit, I am building up a little bit of a, you know, sock remnant collection. And I don't know if I have it in me to knit colourwork socks, or if it's worth for me to knit colourwork socks, but it will have to be something I consider, or maybe I do something else with that wool. Anyway, okay, on to the next pair of socks that I knit, that I have with me anyway. The next pair is this one. This is, I'm just gonna pull out there, it's just a 3x1 all over rib sock, unicolor. This isn't a specific pattern, it's fun. It's basically just take any vanilla sock pattern and just add a rib detail to it. I like a ribbed sock. I'd say that's my preferred sock construction, like an all over ribbed sock like this. And that's because I find the fit of it to be a little better. It's less likely to sort of like fall down my leg on this part, because the rib really cinches it in. And so I've got a couple of socks which are either 2x1 or 3x1 construction, is that even the right word for it? And yeah, I like these ones. I'm going towards plainer colours alongside, you know, my bright and vibrant socks. So yeah, in terms of the wool that I used, it's this beautiful sort of barber pulled Rico design premium sock wool. Again, it is the classic 80-20 or 75-25 combination of virgin wool and polyamide. I really like this. I think this is super effective. It looks kind of like a really good boot sock that you'd buy from, I don't know, like a sports outdoor shop, but I made it, and yeah, it's not sort of, doesn't really scream handmade sock. Not that that's a bad thing, as I like making a lot of handmade, colourful, jazzy socks. But yeah, I like Rico design sock wool. That's again another tried and tested sock wool for me, similar to the West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply. I've not had any pillings, holes or colour running in any of the previous ones that I've used, and with both of those I can and do generally wash them in the washing machine, and I've not had any of the dreaded like felting or sort of destruction of the sock. So that's why I go to those two wools as kind of like a standard. After that point, I think in January I started going to a knitting group at my local yarn store, and I then tried a new to me sock wool. Like I said, there's a lot of socks in this kind of video, but like I said, I needed something that was small, that required minimal thinking, and that was easy and kind of was like a dopamine quick success knit over the last few months. But yeah, the new to me wool that I tried was, I have a very tiny version of it left here. It is the Zauberball crazy sock wool. This one is specifically piano bar, okay, there's a lot of numbers here, so I'm not quite sure which is the colour number, but it's the piano bar sock. And the sock for it looks like this. It's pretty cool, it's pretty funky. This is like the classic hand knit sock look. And I do love these socks. I find, you know, just the colour shift to be very exciting. I like kind of knitting to see how, like to see what the next gradient shift will be. Yeah, so this was the second time I used the Zauberball. The first time was for a Christmas present that I made for my mum, which is another pair of socks, so a different colourway. I can't really speak too much to how these wears. I've worn these socks once. I'm trying not to mix in too much with my other socks that are clean. But I don't know how it wears, if it pills, if it felts. I'm not going to put these through the washing machine because moving forward I'm going to start hand washing all my socks. Yeah, I know. There's a reason for that, and I'll get to that another video. But my husband has a couple of pairs of socks knit in Zauberball that his mum knit him, and he puts them through the washing machine, and from what I've observed of his socks, the colour remains pretty vibrant. They've not felted. I don't know if they've pilled, because I don't handle his socks. But from just sort of like an observer point of view, they look like a good sock yarn, and I've heard really great things, and you know, they have to be popular for a reason. If these socks, you know, wear really well, I definitely will carry on purchasing Zauberballs. I think the colorways are super fun, and I want to have more fun socks in my sock drawer. So yeah, that's all I can say about the Zauberball socks, but I really like them. I really like how those look. Yeah, so that's all the socks that I've knit, that I have with me, let's say. And then I guess next we can go on to sort of current projects, because I have not completed a single garment in the last like 6 months, and that's fine, you know. I feel like I've knit a lot, but I just somehow and some reason just haven't got anything to show for it. Yeah, I'm trying to think, looking at my projects right now. A current WIP, and this is sort of my longest ongoing WIP, is a sock. You guessed it. These are a pair of socks that I am knitting my husband. I don't have the ball band in here, that's fine. If, again, you are into your sock knitting, you'll probably recognise this. This is West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply, and this is one of the bird sock colourways. I can't remember specifically what bird. I know it's not pigeon, but you know, self-striping, they look a little like this. They're slow going, but that's fine. Can't really speak to much other than that. It's just going to be a plain vanilla sock. I'm hoping to use a lot more of this ball because my husband likes to wear his socks a little longer than I do. So yeah, I'll keep plugging away at this. I think this might take me a couple of months to get through because I mainly knit this on the bus or in the office on my lunch breaks. And I only go into the office twice a week. So there you go. That's my longest ongoing WIP. Okay. Right, a next project, I'm doing this in chronological order because it might as well, makes the most sense. The next kind of project that I did was a little fun one. It was a spinning project. I am spinning a quantity of wool with the intention of knitting a whole garment with it. So there's quite a lot of spinning that's been done. So what I have spun so far is, that doesn't really show it very well, yeah, is this much. So this is some Dorset horn wool. Can you see? It's a natural wool sheep colour. And this is spun. This was, my intention for this was to spin a DK wool to maybe make the Esther jacket by Petit Knit. But there's some slight inconsistencies with my spinning, and I don't think I really quite hit the DK. Well, yeah, I think it's a light DK and sport or heavy heavy fingering, is that a thing? Yeah, weight, and that's fine. I can obviously adjust or find a different pattern which is more suitable to this. I can obviously try and hold it with a mohair or with another lace weight to kind of get the DK gauge, but I don't know if that's something I'd want to do with this, given that it's hand spun. I don't know if I want it to be an entirely hand spun project, but I would say I've knit just a little under half of my 500 gram. It's not a cake, is it? Like, what do you call it when you get like a whole bundle of sliver? It feels a little thicker than sliver. Like, I'll show you just how much I've got left. I have this much left. I'm trying not to crinkle the bag too much. The wool is really fun. Really fun to spin. It is a medium staple length wool. It's not smooth, it's not downy, it's like a really nice in between. Because yeah, like when you look at it, the fact that it's got a bit of downiness to it, you'd expect it to be super rough. And it's not like the softest, it's not a merino soft by any chance, but it is so nice even as this on my skin. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to spinning this. I got a 500 gram amount of this at a festival a few years back. Purchased it from a Yorkshire based supplier called Adelaide Walker. And yeah, as I was spinning this, I just panicked that I wouldn't have enough for, you know, the Esther jacket at the time. So I purchased another 100 grams so that it would bring me up to 600 grams. But then now that I know that I've spun this a little lighter than DK, I think I'll be fine on yardage. But then again, I did spin it short forward, worsted spun, so it's going to be a little bit denser. But this is a fun long-term project. I did a little bit of spinning this morning, and I might try and do half a bobbin. These are all washed. I've not counted yardage yet, but I'll get to that at the end, and that will obviously inform what pattern I use. I definitely want to do like a jacket cardigan pattern. It's also cream, which absolutely terrifies me, but I really love the natural colour of the wool. So yeah, that's fun. The next project that I did, so at this point I casted is it casted or is it cast on? Can you add a tense to the word cast? But anyway, I digress. The next project that I started, at this point I'm not being 100% accurate, but I think it was this raglan pattern. I love using tote bags as project bags. They're so easy. Yeah, again, this is another very cool and trendy pattern. And I feel a little bit, I don't know, not naughty, but I don't know if I'm definitely going to credit the inspiration for this pattern. So you might recognize this. This is the Norma sweater by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I did not purchase the Norma sweater by My Favorite Things because I am trying to knit from my stash a lot more. It's really interesting being a spinner. You add so much to your stash, quicker than you can knit things. Like spinning is a lot faster. And so I basically had this grey wool, which I've skeined up. I'm not gonna get them. So I've had this grey wool, which is West Yorkshire Spinners. I'm a big fan, guys, and it's also, I live in West Yorkshire, so it's so abundant and so easy to find. And it's also very economical in terms of wool. I don't know why I'm justifying what wool they use, but I had this grey West Yorkshire Spinner DK ColourLab range wool, a sweater's quantity of it, but I don't like this colour, funnily enough, but I have a whole sweater's quantity of it, and I have knit this and unravelled and knit and unravelled it a bunch of projects with this wool, and I just really wanted it out of my stash. And I've been seeing the Norma sweater on Pinterest and Instagram a lot, and I just really liked it. But that's knitted on worsted weight yarn. I don't have a lot of worsted weight yarn. I have so much DK. I knit with DK or under the majority of the time, or that's what I buy the majority of the time. So I knew that there was no point in me purchasing that pattern because the numbers wouldn't work out for it. And also with it being a raglan, I've knit so many raglans. Sorry, I had to pause there to actually think if I'd knit that many raglans. I have knit a few raglans, whether or not I've completed them is a separate issue. But yeah, and I basically could see the chart for the stripe detail, and so I just kind of used my own numbers and copied the stripe detail on this. The colour the colour choices were inspired by another podcaster. I'm just going to see if I can quickly get that podcaster's name to come up, because honestly I just copied their colours. Yes, Oriel, or the Stitch Witch podcast, they use these exact colours, and as soon as I saw their colours I was like, yes, I've got all of those in stash, you know, no more, like nothing else to talk about. So yeah, the grey is West Yorkshire Spinners. Okay, where is the other colours? So the other two contrasting colours, so this sort of neon-y chartreuse greeny yellow is a hand spun of mine. It's a 2-ply hand spun. It's one of my early hand spins from a long time ago. I think I bought this at the same time I bought this. I have a distinct memory of those two. But anyway, this is a velvet Sixpence 100-gram braid of Kent Romney that I spun. Loved spinning this. Kent Romney I need to actually start getting more of that in my life, because spinning this was so much fun. You know, with it being hand dyed, there's like some lights and darks. It sort of marls into each other, and it's really soft. If I'd closed my eyes and put this next to skin, I would think it was something like a South Down. It is so soft and so downy, and that is just like my preferred type of wool to spin. So yay, I get to use this. I won't get to use a lot of it because it's just a raglan, slightly oversized, but whatever. And then the white is a leftover from another project, and I think that's a West Yorkshire spinner, like natural creamy white, whatever. So this is a really great stash busting project, and I am very, very excited to get this done. I made a mistake actually in the first sort of like color work repeat, as you can see. So it's meant to have 2 of these chartreuse lines, but I only knit 1 on here. Can you see? So I will have to go and do some duplicate stitching just to get that to be the correct amount. But yeah, again, this is another project that's sort of chugging along. I don't know, I'm at that point with the raglan where like it takes forever to do one round, so I'm not as motivated to pick this one up as I was at the beginning. But that is a garment I'm really looking forward to having. I think that would be a really good staple. I can wear that in the office, I can dress it up and dress it down. Love it. So when I was on my sock hype, which I sort of still am in, I was thinking that I would love to spin specifically yarn to make a sock with, and this is what I have. So I went and bought 100 grams of I can't remember what the composition is, but this definitely has recycled nylon and a wool base of some kind. I purchased this from World of Wool. Again, I feel really blessed that so many wool suppliers and companies are based in Yorkshire, because I live in Yorkshire. But yeah, so this was in the colorway Lavender Mist. I'm really, oh yeah, I would say this is a generous 4-ply, so it's slightly on the thicker side. There's some more work to be done with this. It has been washed, but it's a little underspun. Not underspun, it's perfectly spun. I spun this on my Kromsky Fantasia, but I applied it on an e-spinner, and I think it's underplied, especially for something that's meant to be a sock, as you can see. So I need to put this through my Fantasia again. It's been a long time since I used my e-spinner, so I think I don't have a good feel for how much twists to put into each on here, to like onto here. This is a 3-ply, and I think that's why it's a generous 4-ply. I couldn't get the singles thin enough to make the kind of 4-ply I'm used to knitting with, but it's not far off. I think if I added a little bit more twist, let me try and show the difference on there. So it's not too far off. If I added a bit more twist, I think it would, one, get closer to what I'm used to spinning with, and secondly, make it a lot more durable. I feel like a sock this loosely plied, I keep using the word spun, loosely plied, wouldn't last very long. It would pill, it would probably felt a little bit more. But yeah, I can see that if I added a little bit more twist, I'm just like twisting kind of like the thread on there just to see, I think that would be perfect. And I love this color. I would something about this colour really does it for me. And if this goes really well, I will carry on spinning my own wool for socks. The next project I casted on, oh god, you guys are gonna be sick of hearing what my wool choices are. I don't know, this is my studio office and I spend a lot of time on the computer for work and I get cold so easily, and I just wanted to make a ginormous shawl that I could wrap around myself as a blanket, and yeah, I had a skein of, say it with me, West Yorkshire Spinners ColourLab. And I just found this fantastic pattern on Ravelry. I can't remember the name of it. I can't believe I didn't write this down, but okay. And it's just garter. 90% of it's garter, and then there's a lace detailing at the end, which I guess I'll just have to show you once I've completed this. When I've completed this, it's not on DK on 4.5. This is my in bed project whilst winding down. I will use 2 skeins of West Yorkshire Spinners in this like silver grey colour, and then the lace detailing I will use this hand spun. This is again velvet Sixpence, and I think my notes say that this is also Kent Romney, but I don't know, I for some reason I thought this was like a merino that I'd just gotten from a festival somewhere, but I think these 2 colours would look, can you see them? Would look really nice together, and this is sort of like my stay warm and cozy project. I will need this even in the summer, I know what I'm like. But yeah, this is really like addictive because it is just garter all the way through, so it's all knits. But I'm at a point where the stitches, the rows take so long to get through. But yeah. Okay, and last but not least, the last pattern and project that I'm working on. I cast it, I need to figure out which way it is. I cast this one on 2 days ago. I purchased the pattern and the yarn for this on 5 days ago at my local yarn store for the knit group that I go to, and yeah, physical pattern, baby, I love it. So I got the Ivy top by Petit Knit. This is my first ever Petit Knit pattern. It's great, it's good, no complaints so far in terms of the pattern itself, and I am using the recommended yarn, which is Sandnes Garn, Linné, and the colour I'm using is slate blue, not slight blue. And yeah, this is, I think this is one of my first times I'm using a cotton linen blend. Done cotton before, but I've never knit with linen, and this is where I am at. So I'm still doing the back increases. I've only got a few more to go, and that's the front. Not that you can see much of it, but again, it's the colour that I would definitely wear. I'm hoping that it ends up being a really good summer top. I have slight worries about this pattern, but I'm gonna wait until it's done before making any judgments on it. But I think I'll do this really quickly to say that I cast this on 2 days ago and I've done this much. That's the back. And yeah, I think next time I catch up with you guys, this will probably be finished. But I'll let you know what I think of it. So yeah, and that's my first kind of summer spring project. Yeah, I'm a little bit frazzled. I've spoken so much. I've had to like retain and convey a lot of information, especially information that's months old. But yeah, hopefully if and when, definitely when I start doing this more frequently, I will have a lot less information overwhelm. But that has been what I've been working on. Obviously, a lot of it's ongoing projects. I'll be, you know, speaking on that and sort of letting you know my progress on that. But yeah, in other news, because that is literally all my spinning and knitting news, I have signed up for some pottery classes. I'll be starting these in 2 days' time. Today's Sunday. I'll be starting them on Tuesday. I'll be doing them 6 lessons over 6 weeks, straight after work. So I'll definitely be speaking about that and sharing my little makes on there. I'm very, very excited. I'm gonna go and try edit this, and once I've done editing that, I'm gonna pick up the ivy top again and knit on that. But yeah, it's been a bit of a big old catch up, but there you go.